Sebastian Maniscalco.
My wife and I went to go see Hamilton on Broadway.
It Ain't Right Tour 2024.
Oh my God, it is amazing. We saw it. Oh, it changed me it changed me. Now, as soon as I hear that, I'm like, I ain't gonna like this.
Sebastian Maniscalco, live on stage in Des Moines, Wells Fargo Arena, December 15th, 2024. Get tickets now at livenation.com. For more, visit sebastianlive.com.
Let's rodeo at the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo, January 10th and 11th at Wells Fargo Arena. It's rodeo and a whole lot more. Come early for autographs, pony rides, and more. See more action, the best entertainment, and be part of the fun. It's too great to wait. Get tickets now at HighVTix.com. It's wild, it's western, it's pro rodeo at the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo, January 10th and 11th.
All Access. An inside look at what it takes to operate Iowa's largest entertainment and convention facilities. This is Iowa Events Center All Access. From Iowa Everywhere.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of All Access here on the Iowa Everywhere Podcast Network. We're presented by the Iowa Event Center. Matt Van Winkle and Adam Flack, Director of Marketing at the Iowa Event Center, for another episode. And we are into November. It is Election Day, Adam. I know you were so excited that these political ads are finally coming to an end.
Oh, I can't wait. You know, we're seeing the same ones over and over again every time you turn the TV on. But my question is, are you a vote early guy or a go through the routine of going on Election Day?
I go on Election Day. I do. Typically, you know, when my job is flexible enough where I can go and vote in person in the morning after I drop my kids off from school. So yep. I like going in. I like the process of that and seeing people. I know, obviously, encourage people to vote early if you can. I know they encourage that as well, just to alleviate a lot of the lines. We live in a state here, at least where I'm at, in Bondurant, where, you know, the lines aren't typically very long, but I know a lot of people, just to avoid that long line on Election Day, a lot of these bigger states where they know they're going to be waiting for a long time, they like to do that early. But how about you? What do you prefer?
Election Day. I've got to go. My wife does before. A lot of people that I know go before, but I like that symbolism of it, and, you know, going in and doing it on that day. I don't know why. I'm just traditional, I guess. My question is, do they count the early votes early and not release them, or do they wait to count every vote until Election Day? I've never known the answer to that.
You mean, do they actually see who? I think they can only count how, if the ballot came in. I don't think they actually read them until the actual Election Day. I could be wrong. Like, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a good question. But there's a lot of ways to do it. Make sure you go out there and vote. Make sure you. The cool thing about Iowa too, and a lot of people don't know this, you can register on Election Day. Some states you can't do that. I think half the states in our country are allowed to do that, and Iowa is one of those. So that's a cool thing that we have in this state. You can, register to vote on Election Day.
Yeah, I know I had a coworker that moved recently, and so, you know, he said it was super simple. He just showed up, had a water bill or something that had his new address on it, and they were able to make the change and get him right in. And, you know, you don't want to have to go through and hinder people's ability to vote by making them go through a long process. So I'm glad they can do it right on site there.
Well, obviously, and, you know, with the Iowa Event Center, you guys are really tied into the political scene. You guys have the caucuses that come through there. You guys are really invested into what happens in our state. So this has got to be a good moment for you guys to see all this stuff kind of come to an end. Obviously, it never really truly ends, but this cycle, at least with Election Day, that you guys have seen a lot of these news sources come through. A lot of the political candidates do events through your building. So this is a pretty big day for you guys too.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, you complain about the ads happening all the time, but you do appreciate that there is so much interest in running advertising and hosting events here in Iowa. So we're fortunate that we host some of those, especially during caucus season. I don't think we have anything going on this week, you know, in terms of election night. Mm-hmm. But it's, you know, the presidential election gets the bulk of the conversation, but these local elections are pretty important too, right? So I know,
absolutely,
you know, the Polk County Board of Supervisors has a couple seats that are going to be new supervisors, and we report to them. And so there's a lot of different races happening locally that are really important. So it's good to, yes, you got to vote for president, but don't forget the rest of the ticket as well.
Yeah, we feel pretty lucky when we get those candidates here on caucus time, and then after that, they kind of forget about us here, and they don't
Yeah.
show up in our state. And not usually every year, but so yeah, we're pretty lucky to have that access here, and yeah, we're excited to be here with you on All Access. We have some cool things to talk about, some things happening now, some things into the future, and we're heading into the holiday season. You guys have some cool events coming that we'll talk about. We got basketball and hockey that are starting up as well. But first of all, we'll start very local with our high school sports scene. The state volleyball tournament's going on right now over in Coralville at the Extreme Arena, which is one of your guys' managed facilities. So I want to wish good luck to all the volleyball teams competing in the state tournament.
Yeah, the girls athletic union, great partners of ours, hosting the girls basketball with us. They host girls wrestling and volleyball over at Extreme Arena, and the Iowa City Sports Commission and Coralville CVB, and that whole city does a great job of rolling out the pink carpet for them. And
Yep.
you get down to that river landing area, and it's pretty impressive the way they put pink all through that whole area. They really do a great job of welcoming the student athletes and the fans and the school. So I'm looking forward to getting over there later this week to see it.
Cool.
I have not been over since they started hosting it after Cedar Rapids, but yeah, the city does a great job with it, and we're fortunate to host it.
I've yet to go to an event at Extreme Arena, but it looks really cool because it's not quite as big as you guys have at Wells Fargo Arena, but it looks like it's a perfect setting for like a volleyball tournament like that, or like you said with wrestling as well.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because a lot of two court events, they do have two courts going on at the same time over there.
Yeah.
And you would typically think that those would go crossways in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these are actually end to end. So it is an ice sheet because we do have the Iowa Heartlanders over there.
Yep.
And so they put both courts, end to end with a net that goes in between the two courts. And so you've got a little bit different vantage point there as opposed to going cross court. You get kind of a horseshoe atmosphere for each of those games, and it's pretty cool. So we'll see what it looks like when I get over there Wednesday.
Yeah, I love watching the highlights on the news to see how our local teams do. And I got to get over there for a tournament or an event. It looks like a cool space that you guys manage over there with OVG. Very cool.
If you haven't been there, it's really, think about the Knapp Center, right? It's a smaller one level. It's obviously newer than the Knapp Center. It just opened in 2020 and got all the modern amenities, and it's a great space, but there's not a bad seat in the house, no matter where you're sitting for a hockey game, a state volleyball match, or a concert. It's great seating over there, and they've done a good job managing it.
Awesome. Well, we got high school volleyball, and then we just started college basketball. Tipped off on Monday with Iowa and Iowa State. Men both played Monday, and the women just finished their game. They have an early game on Monday, so it's great to have college basketball back. And I know you guys are excited, looking way ahead to the NCAA tournament. I'm going to play a little music just to get us in the mood for some college basketball. Does this get you ready? Does this get you pumped up for college basketball?
Of course it does. That old school CBS music. College basketball is great. It's really hard.
Yeah.
In November when football is at its peak to really get into basketball. But, heading up to Hilton is always a fun time. It's, I think what's they're saying, Hilton is my happy place or whatever. It's great to watch college basketball and, get that countdown on for 4 years from now when we get to host.
The best part is walking in from a cold parking lot into a warm Hilton Coliseum.
Yet ice cream is the favorite snack of anybody at the arena. So it's...
That's the best. So 2028, a little bit of ways away from when you guys are going to host, but I know you guys are probably already starting your planning for that. So
yeah, we've met we met a lot when we were going through the bid process.
Yeah.
Haven't met yet since we were awarded the bid, but those meetings will start soon, and you get them started early enough, then you can really get stuff figured out and not scramble at the end, because the logistical part of the parking and the transportation and getting officials in and all that is a big undertaking. So it does take a while. The NCAA, I think, has already contracted all the hotels. So we're set from that standpoint. We know where the teams are going to be staying. And now it's just up to us now to work with the city and Catch Des Moines and Polk County to really try to figure out all the logistical parts of it.
Cool. And so I know when you guys have that information, you obviously release to the public when ticket sales go on.
Yep.
When do you guys anticipate that?
Oh gosh, thinking back to the last few times that we've had it, years ago, like the first couple times we had it in 2016 and in 2019, we actually did some private pre-sales, to the host schools databases and our database and things a year out. It was like March 1st the year before, and went through all of that process for, 6 months, let's say. And then the general public tickets went on sale in like October of the season that we were hosting. In 23, they switched that, and they condensed the pre-sale window. They didn't go on sale with anything until about that September-ish time frame, and then just condensed the pre-sales down to a couple days in the general public. So my guess is that that's how they'll continue to do it. They'll wait a little bit longer and go out in the fall.
Gotcha.
Fall of 27, I guess, before we host in March of 28.
Hard to think that far to the future. We don't even know who's going to be playing on these teams then, but
that's right.
Just mark your calendar. Just circle that. Well, the last time we talked was when we were down at Wells Fargo Arena to announce the new naming of the Casey Center coming in July of next year. It's gotten a lot of buzz. People are talking about it. People are very excited for the name change. And I know our friends over at Ray Gun T-shirts kind of had some fun with we talked about this with Chris too. What's the new nickname going to be for the arena? I got the well with Wells Fargo Arena. I threw out the slice or the pizza oven or something like that. So I don't know. I don't know if they settled on one yet.
I don't think they settled on. We won't settle on one. For us, it's Casey Center, right? You need to get that branding out there and make sure that Casey's is happy with it. I remember a couple times when it was Wells Fargo Arena, our contact Tony Dickinson over at Wells Fargo would catch every time somebody called it the well, we'd get a phone call, right? Like, hey, they're not using the name. And nicknames happen over time. So I think, some people may still call it the well for a little bit. But what I do know is that we're working with Casey's right now, on plans for launching that thing come July 1. And it's a pretty big undertaking from both of our ends, because they're, how can we launch it and, promote it within the stores? And for us, we have 20 years of Wells Fargo branding throughout the arena and through websites and everywhere else that we're putting our checklist together now and starting to order signage and get all that stuff done in preparation for July.
Wow, that's cool. And it's cool too, because, like I said, throughout the state, Casey's is an iconic brand, and following along on their social medias, they like to have fun, and it looks like they like to do fun promotions and stuff. So really hoping that's a cool partnership with you guys, that they'll be able to do some cool stuff. And like we talked with their CEO down there, they're going to have a convenience store in the Casey's Center, which will be pretty cool, or selling stuff that Casey's sells as well. So you won't be able to pull your car up and get gas at the Casey's Center, but maybe, I don't know, maybe that's something.
Come on, man. Let's take slow steps. No gas pumps yet. They're going to sell their pizza, obviously. So you come down to state basketball in that morning game, get a breakfast slice, hopefully. We're looking forward to it because it is such an Iowa company, right? I know they're in 17 states and they're all over the country now. But grew up here. Their first store was in Boone, I believe it was. And their headquarters in Ankeny. And just from a creative standpoint, the ability to reach all corners of the state, one of the things that we've said is being the center of entertainment in Iowa, but, really branching out and reaching out to those small communities, because those are the teams that are coming in for the high school tournaments. Those are the families that are coming down for Disney on Ice. They're not all from the metro area. So being able to extend that footprint out and promote, in all corners of the state will be a lot of fun for us.
Makes total sense. It's a great partnership. Like you said, they're in so many communities, and people throughout the state just know them and know that brand. So it'll be really cool to see once that new signage comes up, once you guys start getting that around the arena. So looking forward to that in July of next year. Well, we also saw that you guys announced the World's Toughest Rodeo, Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo, coming Friday and Saturday, January 10th and 11th to Wells Fargo Arena. It's going to be an action-packed performance with some of the nation's most talented rodeo athletes, livestock, and specialty entertainers. I know you guys have had the rodeo in the past, and it's a really cool experience. They even have some hands-on things that the kids can do before the shows, right?
Yeah, it's such a fun event, because it includes the whole family. You get down there, everybody gets to go to the all-access pre-show. You get down on the dirt, pony rides and autographs and sitting on a bull, and there's all sorts of activities that you can do. And then you watch the show, and it's different than like PBR and professional bull riding, because you get more than just bull riding, right? You get all the rodeo acts, you get the barrel racing, you get I think we've had mutton busting in the past, and for the kids. And so there's just more to the event than just seeing, 40 bull rides or whatever. So it's action packed. It keeps it going. We've got a quick turnaround after that event, because that's a Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday afternoon, the Globetrotters are in. And so we've got to get all that dirt out really quickly after the event Saturday night. Hopefully the weather holds up okay for us this year. Get the dirt out, get the building clean, and welcome the world famous Harlem Globetrotters the next day.
Here's an idea for next year. Maybe we can get like a hybrid rodeo Globetrotter event. Just keep the dirt. Maybe they can have fun with it.
Yeah, if the Globetrotters are in town early, they might try some trick shots off a bull's back or something like that. They're pretty good at those. So I'm assuming they have a game Saturday somewhere, and they'll be driving in Sunday morning. But I'm looking forward to having them back again. It's a family tradition. A lot of times it's held in March or April. Last couple of years we've moved that to January, and it's worked out pretty well.
Tickets are on sale for that, HyVeeTix.com, Friday and Saturday, January 10th and 11th for the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo. Well, the Iowa Wild are in full swing. I know they've got a day game coming up this week, that Friday, that school game. I know you love being down there for that, hearing all those screaming kids.
Oh, you just love to go through the arena. Can it get a little bit old by the third period? Yeah, it's a lot of screaming. But the excitement that these kids bring there, it's just a different energy that's in the arena on a day like that, because all these kids, they do a great job, the Wild, of keeping them involved in what's going on. And I think they have a workbook for them, and they're doing stuff throughout the game, and the whole game is themed towards those kids. So it's pretty exciting, and the energy is pretty cool. You just got to pick and choose your spots on when you're in and out of there.
We're excited. We're excited here at Iowa Everywhere to announce that we are partnering with the Iowa Wild now. They're one of our newest sponsors here. So welcome to the Iowa Wild. We're excited to announce some fun giveaways, some ticket deals that we'll be announcing throughout the season, and you'll hear their messaging throughout Iowa Everywhere shows. So welcome to the Iowa Wild, and we're excited. We know they're a great partner of you guys as well.
They are. They're run the right way. They do a great job. All of our teams do a great job, but the Wild, they've really established themselves now. That year 12, I think it is, or they've just been around for a long time and doing things the right way in the community. And the school day game's great, but everything that they do is first class. So excited to have them jump on board here with Iowa Everywhere.
From hockey to basketball, the Iowa Wolves have their home opening weekend with games this Saturday and Sunday. Both tip off at 6:30 p.m. at Wells Fargo Arena. Tickets for those are available as well. And there's some players that people might know about on those teams, yeah?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do. Really look at that roster, that opening night roster, and just see any Iowa State or Iowa players, or at least players that maybe Central Iowa is familiar with. And there's quite a few this year. Mike Miles, you remember him from TCU, really good guard there. He's on the roster this year. He played in Texas last year, and now he's with Iowa. Jalen Clark, who was a second-round draft pick out of UCLA, he's on assignment, so he goes up and down from Minnesota to Iowa. I know that's one of my son's favorites. A couple more Big 12 guys, right? You got Jesse Edwards, played last year at West Virginia.
Top end talent that you get coming through the G League. So
it really is. Everything. And then the unique thing is you got to watch those rosters of the teams coming in, and you got to watch them maybe the day of too, because the rosters are such in flux and going up and down and getting traded. I know years ago, Naz Mutri-Long was playing for one of the teams in the league. And we had a game that night, and I was actually catching a flight for a meeting, and he's on my flight. I'm like, wait a minute, he's supposed to be in town playing tonight, but he had gotten called up and was headed out. So there is a lot of change there. So that's why it's really hard to promote the players in that league. But opening night roster is out, it looks like, on their website, and looking forward to seeing some of those guys.
Plus Luca Garza still with the Iowa Wolves.
He's full contract up in Minnesota. So
fantastic. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be down or not this year. But he was on the opening day roster in Minnesota.
Cool.
Had a great preseason, played well in the preseason game that we had. So would love to see him for a few games down in Iowa, but we'll see how that progresses throughout the year.
Yeah, fans got to see him when you guys had the preseason games. So that was pretty cool to have him around. All right, switching from sports to some concerts. The Trans-Siberian Orchestra next Thursday, November 14th. It's the perfect way to get in the holiday spirit. You got Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas right around the corner. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, they have a holiday-themed concert that they put on, right?
Yeah, it is. It's off of their Lost Christmas Story album. They reimagined that whole show, and it's a brand new show that they do according to that album. So cool. If you haven't seen it, it's really hard to explain just from the pyrotechnics and the music. But it's worth seeing. It does get you in the holiday spirit. You'll recognize a lot of those songs that you hear throughout the night. In fact, if you ever go around Ankeny or these other communities that have the houses that time up their lights to different songs, typically it's a TSO song that they're doing that with. So
I was gonna say, if you listen to like a Light 104.1, or they do the holiday
Yeah.
music all Christmas long, like you're guaranteed to hear that like once an hour. So
yeah. So it's something that's fun, and there's always something to look at too. So it's part voices, part singing, and then part just great rock music, I guess you'd call it.
I love it. And then next weekend, November 15th through the 17th, is my wife's favorite event of the year, the Des Moines Holiday Boutique. She always brings me down there, and I love kind of walking through the aisles with her. We go through in the evening. It's one of the best holiday shopping weekends of the year. That's the Des Moines Holiday Boutique. 200 companies. They're going to offer jewelry, gifts, children's items, food, wine, anything you can imagine around the holidays. It's a really cool event down there at the Hy-Vee Hall.
Yeah, and it continues to grow. It gets bigger and bigger, taking up a little bit more space each year. It's in Hy-Vee Hall this year. So, we would just encourage people to come down and see it. You got TSO Thursday night, then come down Friday or Saturday for the Holiday Boutique and really start that holiday shopping and get ready then for Pentatonics in December. So we've got a lot of holiday themed events coming up.
Absolutely. And one of those is Disney on Ice as well, coming up this month, November 28th, going into December 1st. Those Thursday through Sunday shows, correct?
Yeah, one show Thursday night. So we open up on Thanksgiving. Yep. So when you're tired of family and done with your nap, come down to the arena for a 7:00 show. And then Friday and Saturday, we have 3 shows each. So it's like 11, 3, and 7 each of those days. And then Sunday, typically 1, 5. So it's a long, busy week. It's really hard to get that grind there, but it's been happening in Des Moines for 40 some years, I think, from vets to the well. So, it's here again. And Mickey Search Party, I believe, is the show this year. So all your favorite characters will be included. And I also saw, and I don't think it's part of this show, but did you see that Moana 2 is coming out?
I was going to say that. I saw the trailer this morning on TV, and I was going to show my daughter when she got home from school today that Moana 2 is coming out soon. So probably next year's Disney on Ice, I bet.
Probably. I'm sure Frozen 3 will come out at some point. And I heard there's a Toy Story 5 coming out.
I saw that too.
In the next couple of years. So
it's the cool. Toys versus technology is the theme. So
I think we've all seen that evolution. So it's pretty cool how they're able to adapt the movie to what has really happened.
The funniest thing, my daughter came up to me after we watched Toy Story one day. She's like, "Dad, do toys really talk like that?" So these kids, man, they have an imagination of their own. But one of the best things too about Disney on Ice is it really is. I mean, it is for kids and adults, and it's really not that. It's about 90 minutes long. They get you in and out pretty quickly, but it's a really entertaining show, and it's great for kids and adults of all ages. So
yeah, and we talked about toys versus technology. Well, technology has helped that event so much because just the changes in LED technology and video imaging and when I started going to that event back in the 90s, it was big, huge props coming out and then a white sheet of ice. And now you're getting, projections down onto the ice and the video screen in the back. And so it really helps tell the story a little bit better there. So if you're not right down on the ice, you can see it just as well up top and see what's being projected down on the ice. It's a lot of fun.
And these really are like world-class skaters, because I believe one of the performers we talked to last year was like competed in the Olympics, and so these really are high-level skaters and athletes. So they do a really nice job. It's a performance for, like I said, kids and adults.
Yeah, and traveling across the country and the world to do this. What city they're in the week before, then they come to Des Moines and spend their holiday with us, and then they're off to another city. So they get some good breaks there at the beginning of the week, travel day and a day off, but then, you perform in 9 shows. I'm not sure if all of them do all 9 or if they have understudies or other people that are there with them, but, they definitely earn their pay.
Well, HighVTix.com, you better get those soon, because those do sell out pretty quickly if you want to pick that show that you really want to go to. And like Adam said, there are shows multiple times per day on those Friday, Saturday, and Sunday shows. So, Adam, I know you guys have some more announcements in the works, and we'll be talking about those in the coming weeks. But appreciate you hopping on All Access.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time, Matt. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on here, so hoping to have some guests coming up in future weeks, and hopefully some new show announcements.
Awesome. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe Iowa Everywhere. We're pretty much anywhere you find your podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're everywhere. Find us, Iowa Everywhere. Thanks so much for tuning in to All Access presented by the Iowa Event Center.